temperature data. Yes, in an ideal world, but in reality, there are published papers by the Met Office that have looked at grass growing seasons who suggest March to September inclusive is generally in a normal year with a period of active growth. But yes, I mean, we've hit that because we were quite happy dealing with current data, where you start thinking about climate change scenarios. So, like Lawrence did with extrapolating forward, you might then suddenly have to start changing the length of the growing season as well. Which we have for Spain and South Africa, we've taken different growing seasons.
And the SEV, is it always worked out over an annual period, or can you expand it over whatever time period you want?
Well, no. How we've dealt with it is we take the last 5 years, take a mean of the 5 years prior to when you sampled the botanical composition, to give you the most robust measure. Taking it over 1 year is not necessarily going to give you much explanatory power to the vegetation, because the vegetation would have responded to it. So you had a very wet year, you'd get a very high SEV figure, but the vegetation will still be sitting there. But if you have 5 wet years, then the vegetation will have changed.
So it's the most robust measure for what? And what was
to explain
what?
The species composition.
What was the measure of species composition? How did you what variable did you use to?
It's prediction of presence, absence.
Presence and absence.
We have got cover estimates, but we haven't plugged all those in. We've just relied on presence, absence.
So for each year over your 5-year period, it's an SEV figure for each year, but then you average
take a mean, yes.
There is a suggestion that the aeration stress might be more sensitive over 3 years than 5 years, because some species do respond very quickly to a single flood event in the growing season. So in fact one flood event can affect some species. So I think some of the work that Joe did suggested that 3 years might be more sensitive for some species than 5 years.
5 years might iron out
yes, whereas some species might be responding to that flood event over 3 years, you're going to think about that in 5.
And I think there was a suggestion with drying stress, which takes a much longer time period for plants to respond. 7 might, if you look at one individually, you might have 3 and 7, but if you're trying to keep it simple, use 5 for both.
Species presence absence. Sorry, so was that the total number of species? I mean, say for example, did you use say a 5-year rolling average with which variable best explains 35 species present this year? And
no, it's an individual species response to that hydrological regime.
It's saying, can you explain whether Agrostis sternifera is in this quadrat or not? So we've dealt with them.
So you did it species by species?
Species by species,
Hence the split diagrams.
Sure. But I thought you did. I remember you saying that you did a different kind of analysis that showed that it wasn't growing season hydrological variables that were most important.